message through your work, you've failed. So that's why any artist who's like, it's up to interpretation. It's up whatever the viewer takes away from it. Like, fuck you. You're abdicating your responsibility as an artist to create something that says anything. It's like,
I think you're being short-sighted
I won't
here.
abide by that.
I think you're being short-sighted here, because what better way for a person who has nothing to say than to say it with splashy lines and eroded colors? I mean, that is saying something. So really, when he says, I have nothing to say, he speaks volumes. I'm just saying.
Right. It's kind of like that idea that there are no values, there's no morality, there's no empirical way to evaluate or judge anything, so nothing means anything, and that's the best way to view reality. Like, fuck you. You just said that that's the best analysis for reality. Your argument fails on its first premise.
It's a good thing Steve's not here.
I was getting ready to say the exact same thing. I was getting ready to say,
I saw
Steve
you whispering something. It was like, oh, let's bring in the GIMP. Let's.
Steve, please send me a P versus Q minus X right now. Let me know that you're alive and watching. Steve, just to let you know, Steve has very strict definitions on what he's a philosophy guy, so he has very strict definitions on what atheists are and agnostics. And anytime somebody says the word like nihilist or colloquial 3 times, he appears like Beetlejuice. So we've said them once. Let's just
really,
not. My
really
favorite
annoying.
thing. Well, words are great. Words are great, and they have definitions. So words are symbols for reality. And you go, okay, that it stands in for this, so that's why we got to have really precise definitions and really observe them, because words have meanings. And like, fuck yeah, okay, awesome. There's a second way to use words, which is as a category, as a box to throw things that have similarities together, right? Just like cat. Like, you just throw cats in there. You're like, is tiger cat? And you're like, yeah, sure, fuck it, whatever, throw it in there. What about
That's a dangerous
serval?
box, Jonathan.
I don't know. It's a fucking weird ass cat thing. Okay, throw it in there. So you can use them as kind of loose category holders. And the third way is as a tool. And using words as tools to shape a malleable reality is a super cool way to use them. But that's diametrically opposed from words have definitions instead of using words as tools to cause change in somebody's mind or reality.
See, I just stop at words. Words describe meaning. Like, after that, to me, it's just too much work. You know what I mean? Like, if the rest of it's just way too much. Like, just tell me what a word means.
It's
I'm okay.
Arguing how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. It's like, okay, sure, you know the definition, but I can still punch you in the face. Fuck it.
7,
right? It's
obviously.
like
7, obviously. Okay, so do you talk about, when you're talking to someone, like let's say Casey goes to one of your shows, and you, number one, how do you pick someone that you're going to talk to, and what direction do you go in? Like, are you ever worried that you might bring up something that's either like too traumatic or too emotional to that like, where do you walk that line on what to talk with them about?
Actually, yeah, I'll take the second one first and then go back to the first one.
Christopher Hitchens.
That's the main reason why I went the comedy route, was this stuff can get really heavy, and people, if you advertise it as a mind-reading mentalist spooky experience, people will show up asking you, would you please get in touch with the spirit of my dead mom? I know that she's here, but I can't hear what she's saying. And clearly you're the person that can do this, right? It's like, Jesus, that is some tough shit to deal with.
Right.
And to look somebody in the eye and go, nope, I can't do that. No, I just saw you on stage. That was a theatrical performance. Those were magic tricks. And if they weren't good, you wouldn't believe it. So they're really good magic tricks, but they're just magic tricks. Now, I know you have to say that to everybody else, but I'm one of the I know you're real, and you can't talk them out of it. So I went the opposite route. I went to the silly comedy, let's all have fun, we're just going to think of the name of your first pet, right? The name of your first crush. I don't deal with anything of death or spirits or anything like that. Aside
Smart.
from the special seance show that I do in Halloween time. And even then, it's a skeptic's take on this thing that used to happen. Right. So then I talk about the spirit of my dead grandma and then do it in a way that really makes people uncomfortable. Right. Her dying breath was, make money off my memory. Right. That kind of thing. And everybody's like, Jesus, yeah, you're right. You would be doing that. Okay. So just kind of pointing to the fact that these mediums are perverting the memory of these people that their audience love. And that's how they make their living, which to me, it makes my skin crawl. I'm not going to do it. So that's why I went the comedy route instead of the talking about spirits.
Right. Let me ask you this real quick. Yeah. So when you do the seance things, you're not going into it like actively trying or attempting to contact a spirit? Like this is a prescripted like theatrical event, or how does that work?
It's a prescripted event that's interactive with people. The physical process, right? The physical thing that happens exactly the same way as it did in the late 1800s. Like there's no electronics, there's nothing going on different than what actually happened back then. But instead of telling people that it's their dead grandma doing it, I'm telling them that I'm helping make this happen. And it's the spirit of my dead grandma who loves this going on. And then the payoff is so clearly, obviously contrived that it won't make anybody a believer. That kind of thing.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Mm-mm. No, you're dead, you're worm food. Good luck.
Casey, do you believe in ghosts?
No.
Yeah.
Cool.
Why?
But,
do you believe in ghosts, Kyle?
Of course. I have one that lives under my bed. He will not go away. I keep trying to pay him, get him to pay rent, but he just won't. No, I don't believe in ghosts either. However, I will say this. I am a bandwagon ghost believer, right? So if I used to work at haunted houses in high school. I would, after school, I would go and we would build a huge haunted house in my town. And I would go there and I got my own room and each year, and I would make a room, and there would be several of us doing it, and we would all piece together this haunted house. But at nighttime, leading up to the actual nights that we were open, it was an old house. It was like an old farmhouse. It was built in the 1800s, and like at night when the wind blew, the floors like creaked. And I swear, ghosts live there. Now, when I'm not there, I can tell you that I don't believe in ghosts. But in that situation, absolutely 100% real. Without question.
Yeah, your limbic system, your lizard brain is like, fuck this, I'm out. There's some predator here. There are patterns of sounds and noises that match evolutionary predator sounds that have been ingrained in millions of years of evolution. This situation makes me uncomfortable. The only way I can explain it is ghosts. So it's ghosts. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kids are the worst.
I do love
freaky kids are the worst.
I hate.
No, you just end it there. Kids are the worst. Like children are awful.
So I was just going to say I hate kids. That's not what I meant. What I meant was they're scary and creepy, and I like mine, but I don't like anyone else's. Does that make sense?
I was meaning more like Children of the Corn, y'all. Y'all just totally went anti-child on me. I was talking about like the white-haired, white-eyed, freaky kids that hide out in cornfields.
No, they don't have to be freaky kids. So like my friend Jackie has two little kids, and her youngest, she had a video monitor. You know what I'm talking about, the monitor with the screen, and so she can see. Well, so the youngest one in the middle of the night would like stand up on the side of his crib and look out into the room and talk like somebody was there and wave and shit.
I can just got chills right now. No.
So it doesn't even have to be a creepy kid. Like, that shit is fucked up. And so, like, I'm not in. That's messed up.
Look,
that would scare the
guys,
shit out of me.
Here's a piece of advice. Do not get cams like that you put out either in your house or in the woods. I had a really good friend of mine. This is a true story. She was hearing this stuff at nighttime. Like, she said it sounded like people walking around. She lived out in the woods. Okay. And, everybody was just kind of like, it's animals. It's, it could be a number of things. Well, her husband hunts. So they have several of those deer cams that are, spread out around the house. Well, they were going through and looking at these cams one night, and there was a guy, right, in all white. He had on a white shirt and all white pants, in frame, just staring right at the camera. And it was the timestamp for it was 3:30 in the morning. Now, who's walking out in the middle of the woods like that at nighttime? I mean, that's just freaky as hell. If it happens, that's fine. But if I know about it, that's when I freak out. Like, if I don't know about it, we're good.
You're like, as long as I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah. I don't want to. Yeah, no.
No, so, thank you.
Going back to the people who do kind of buy into this, right? I'm sure in your field you come across a lot of guys like John Edwards and those that actively they confess to being able to connect with people on the other side. What are they using, or what kind of tricks are they doing when people are so convinced that they're talking about their relative? You know what I mean? Like when somebody goes to one of those events and you have somebody like John Edwards saying, I'm getting this, I'm getting that, and you have somebody that it eventually zeroes in on where they're like, oh, that's my relative. What are they doing to kind of get to that point?
There lots of things, and that's kind of the problem. To answer this question, I promise you I'll come back to it. I'm going to answer the question of how you pick people from the audience, and then that'll show you kind of how it plays out for television
I'm glad
audiences.
You keep it up with my questions.
Right. Got them mapped out. So the thing is, my show has essentially stayed the same for years. Right? I've done it's got a good structure and it's got a good pace, and I know where all the hits are, where the lows are, the comedy. Like it's a thing of beauty. I love it. It's magnificent. Now I've done that show 1,000 times, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands. Right now, I've been there for every single one of them. Right. So I've been in this show, this particular context, 1,000 hours more than the person who's watching it for the first time. So the audience changes, but my show stays the same. So the volunteer is the only variable in this experiment known as my show. Right. So if you change a routine out and put a new one in, that's a lot of variables to wonder whether it's working or not working, and it's difficult to isolate what you have to change to make it work. Right. So I've gone through that process. So now my opening segment of my show, whether I'm doing a 20-minute segment in somebody else's performance, like their show, or I'm doing my full 70-minute theater show, whatever it is, I do exactly the same opening 3 minutes, no matter what, because that opening 3 minutes is my litmus test, because I know how the basic personality types respond to this opening 3 minutes. So from the instant I'm walking out down to I wait 2 seconds to walk out after they announce my name. Like it's that detailed. Because they now, please welcome to the stage, mind reader Johnny Zavant. Like that's my mind reading character, and then I don't do anything. I stay out of field of view for a good 2 seconds, so that people don't have time consciously, but their non-conscious mind is going, "Where is he? Where's he going to be? Where is it?" Right. So if you come out immediately, you go, "Please welcome to the stage, mind reader Jonathan Pritchard," and you're immediately out. there's no opportunity for you to generate interest in the minds of your audience. But by